My name is Pelham, and I graduated in 1974, and that was the year, my senior year, when I was editor of the Chronicle. And I spent most of my career as a reporter and editor, and then became a newspaper publisher, and I'm enjoying being on Duke's board. I think I'm in a long line, the fortunate person in a long line of folks who make their way up the stairs to 301 Flowers and find a community of people. And I don't remember exactly how I knew the opportunity was there, but it was a really warm place. The editors, and it was a lot of men and women who had been through a lot as journalists at Duke, because it was the fall of 1970, and the seniors had been part of the silent vigil in 1968. They had witnessed and written about the takeover of the Allen building in February '69. They had been part of other protests, including war protests in 1970. So their definition of what the Chronicle should cover was very broad, and they were very engaged with national politics, and they were very patient with the greenhorns who showed up from Greenville, South Carolina, and had none of that experience and really wanted to learn. And I learned so much. I was so appreciative of their willingness to share their knowledge, and we got to see our work. People picked up the newspaper. There's nothing more fun than having the idea for a story, going out and talking to people, taking the notes, coming back, crafting how to tell that story to someone who hasn't been through all those interviews, but try to filter up the essence of it, and then your name goes on it and it gets printed in a paper that dozens and hundreds of people pick up and read. So it's just nothing quite like it. And aside from being fun and I guess ego boosting, it's also in many cases important. I mean, there are all kinds of stories that are more for fun, and then there are the ones that are more serious. You're trying to help the university be a better place. There was a summer Chronicle, and that was a great way for the new edit team to practice, so to speak, and figure out what was going on. So we found out that Duke was going to open a junior high for the children of the faculty, because there was a lot of trouble with one of the Durham city junior highs that served some of the neighborhoods where the faculty lived. It was a great story because nobody was paying any attention to it, and we were able to flesh it out, write about it extensively, basically demonstrate that the university really hadn't done much homework. And then when the faculty met, the academic council met to consider it, they had really relied on the Chronicle to find out about it. It was going to be a June meeting, maybe a lot of people wouldn't have gone, and the faculty objected to the idea, and many critics considered it racist, isolationist, all sorts of other things, and the university wasn't able to really demonstrate that there were good reasons to do it. They hadn't made their case particularly well. So that was a wonderful opportunity to speak truth to power and demonstrate the value of a robust student newspaper, and it was a great opportunity for the small group that was putting out that weekly paper to test ourselves in a situation that was really dramatic and fraught and had a lot of consequences for the university if it had gone forward. So that was cool. We had a really great managing editor, John Cranford. He lives in Washington. We worked together for a while at the Congressional Quarterly, and we stay in touch. Andy Bernass, he was the sports editor the year before I was the editor, and he lives not far from me, and we had a walk not long ago. We had a celebration of the Chronicle's centennial 20 years ago, and one of the things that the Chronicle has been able to do is cross the decades. We've got a community that goes way beyond the 4 years that people are there, and some of that is the publications, is the board. So that's a that's a great resource for that community building and keeping people together. You have a job to do. It's like a workplace in many ways. So your workplace friends, you've got a shared purpose, you've got shared responsibilities, shared duties, and it's not something one person can do on his or her own. And so that's like a team of people that you're not going to be close friends with everybody, but out of that group and the fact that you're working together, you do have, I think, strong relationships and a shared sense of purpose, and that's rare. You know, at university, at Duke, when I was there, they had just started working to have internships available for students, and I think public policy, which got underway while I was there, was really the leader in doing that and making it part of their curriculum. But you know, we've all now recognized that something like service learning is a chance to connect the classroom to the outside world. And the Chronicle was able to do that on a daily basis, Monday through Friday anyway. For the students who were there, we had a year-long internship, or a 4 years long internship. I think the importance of a free press and a democracy. I mean, learning that it's important to question what's happening and to consider alternatives and why people are doing things the way they are, and whether there would be a better way, whether there are opportunities to expand access. You know, one of the issues that senior year was financial aid at Duke. It was early in the desegregation of the campus, but we were learning that you can't really have a diverse community if you're not making it possible for people who can't afford to come and pay their way. It was an education in finances that we got, in politics, in academic organizations, in free speech. I mean, we just learned so much at the Chronicle, more so than in most classes I took. I think it was a great complement to some classes where you were doing some of those same things, but it was real life. It wasn't a book. It wasn't an academic's assessment of the situation. It was an opportunity to be, in a way, a part of the conversation. And I think that Duke is well served by the Chronicle and by the opportunity to give so many students a chance to be a part of such a strong, vibrant student organization. I mean, I think it's probably still the largest and certainly the oldest student-run organization on campus. I think some of what influenced my work afterwards was just the nuts and bolts of being comfortable with the concepts of writing a story or editing a story. So that was, I suppose, in some ways, the practical part. But then there was the sense of fairness that you have to have as you go about using the power of the media, the obligation to make sure you've got both sides, the care that you have to take in getting the quote right and making sure the name is spelled right, and you know, it just goes on and on. Having the chance to prepare for an interview, not going in cold. You're representing the organization when you go out, so that's one of the things I think we learned at the Chronicle. You want to, your conversation with this person is going to be a reflection of the Chronicle, and they're going to make a judgment about the paper based on what you do and what you say. So you've got an obligation to do the best you can, and to give them a chance to make their case for what their position is. So, and I think working in a group, you know, the sense of teamwork that we had, especially on putting a daily paper out, but also in those edit council meetings on Sunday night when you're trying to have a civilized but passionate debate about what side of an issue you're going to come down on and have an editorial on. And you have to know what you're talking about in a setting like that. So again, it's learning to do your homework, get the background. There was no Google to look. Getting the background that you should have already gotten. Maybe relax a little bit more, enjoy it, recognize how lucky you are to have this great opportunity, and probably, I think, cherish the time a little bit more. And there are people that I've stayed in touch with, others that I haven't, and maybe in hindsight that would have been a really smart thing to do. We didn't have quite the same tools. You had to write a letter or call somebody on the phone, but I think that it was a gift. Being on the Chronicle with such wonderful people and doing so many things together was a gift, and staying in touch with more of those people would have been smart. I hope that they have a good time. I hope that they appreciate the chance to learn and recognize the responsibility and the really, in some ways, the moral weight of the power of being able to write a news article or write an opinion piece if that's what they choose to do. It's a big responsibility, but I think we're all much better off if we have a robust group of people who are in journalism and care about it and are willing to adapt to new ways of doing it, stepping away from something like paste up and getting all the way to a website and videos, and learning new ways to attract attention from an audience that is also changing. And I hope that the community aspect of having to come together and create a physical product has not diminished the chance for that community building and the opportunity to sit, thigh to thigh with an editor and go through the story and talk about what makes sense, what doesn't, whether the order is right, how the grammar is or isn't holding together. Because that's the heart of it all. The chance to connect with other people in a shared enterprise, a shared mission, you could say, and learn together. It's just been fantastic. The opportunity to be independent of university finances, it strengthens the paper's ability to be, to challenge the things that the university is doing, or for that matter, the student government, because there's clearly a check on your independence if you are taking funds from the entities that you are trying to write about objectively. The opportunity to keep making the Chronicle better, just like the university gets better, is something that we all can be part of. We can contribute our energy and our funds and our ideas because that's something that the current organization has encouraged and made possible. Chrissy has managed to not only stay engaged with the paper of today, but to stay in touch with so many people from all the decades. And Mike, it's also really helpful to have some institutional continuity across many years because, as someone, I can't remember which administrator said, well, you know, that every 4 years we have a whole new set of people, so they'll get used to this or whatever. And I think with Chrissy, you at the Chronicle have that important institutional memory. Plus, she's so nice and so respectful of the paper's mission and very creative about finding new ways to make money and adjusting old ways and responding to opportunities, like a student ad agency, and making sure that the students are involved not just in the editorial but also in the business side of the paper.